All right. I think we can get started and then, if people come later, they can ask questions or whatever, or we'll see how that goes. So today's workshop is on the fund manager system that we're going to be releasing probably probably late next month here, once the audit's complete. But we'll see. We all know how those audit goes, so we'll try to release it as soon as possible. Um, but yeah, so that's going to be sometime in Q2. And then so if you don't know what a fund management system is, we'll kind of get into that. I think most people here, they should be, the workshops kind of going to be around the fund managers themselves. So everyone should kind of have a basic understanding of what a fund manager should be doing and kind of the functionality of the Furucombo system. So if you can't hear me or anything, let me know, and then I'll share a screen here and we can get started. All right, so this is our beta site here. So I'm just going to launch the app and then we can get into the fund system here. So on our invest page, right now we have like farms and pools, and now there's going to be a new tab called funds. So the funds tab here is going to show you the funds that you're invested in and then kind of all the other funds that are available. So in the drop downs here, we can see there's going to be a performance. So this is going to show the relative ROI based on annual yield, and then assets under management, and your balance into that particular fund here, as well as the fund name. So you can kind of sort if you want to maybe participate in only the funds that have the highest amount of balance. You can sort by those tabs there. And then there's this little green button here. This just tells you that the fund is still active. So we can see here this fund here has a red one. That means that the cash reserve is lower than the reserve requirement amount, and you can deposit into this to get a 1% bonus. So if you're going to withdraw, inversely, you're going to incur a 1% bank fee. So we'll talk more about that in the setup of the funds. So this is the fund that I have set up here. So if I click this, or any of these funds really, if you want to invest from this page, if you're just an investor and not a fund creator, or maybe you are both and you want to also invest, you can just click any of these and then choose which ones you want to invest in. And then you can deposit your USDC into that pool or into that fund. So this just gives you some more details, same as the previous screen. And then if you can see a further breakdown if you click this button here. So we'll go back to my fund here. So this just gives you a little brief on kind of so what this is and what you're doing here. So when you deposit USDC into the fund, you're allowing the fund manager to manage and trade your investment. So as an investor, you receive share tokens representing your relative portion of the fund, and the fund manager creates strategies to earn from the market to generate an ROI for the investors of the fund. So we see here, if I put $1,000 into this fund, I'm going to get some fund token back here. So we'll talk a little bit about the parameters on this as well in a bit. This amount can change based on the management fee. So if I click here, this is going to give me a further breakdown of the fund. So once we click that icon, we can see the name again, the price of each of the share tokens, and then a little bit more of the information down here. So a little chart as well as how the fund has been performing over some time period. Well, I guess the share token in this case. And then this will tell you again the assets under management, if it's operating and how long it's been operating, the number of investors, and then so I'll go through these really briefly here. So reserves is how much funds need to be set aside for people entering or rather people leaving the fund. So for my fund, this is set at about 10%. Or is it 10%? Let's see. I think it's could be 30%. Yeah, 30%. So this is the amount that investors can cash out immediately. If investors want to cash out a higher amount, they may need to wait 48 hours. So, and that's kind of when the status can change there. So if you scroll over the status, we have a few different options here. So operating is that the cash balance is positive. Insufficient is that the cash balance is negative. If there's a negative balance for over 48 hours, the fund can be liquidated. So that allows the depositors to withdraw. And then once that happens, usually there's no going back and the fund won't be in operation anymore. A new fund would have to be created to kind of ensure that everyone can get their funds out safely, that it's not kind of over collateralized. So my fund here has been operating and it's been active for 9 days here, so no problems for 9 days. It's been a positive cash balance. And then so the fund manager will be notified within the 48 hours if someone's trying to take out more funds that they need to increase their reserves. And then they can simply do that to ensure that the fund doesn't go into insufficient or liquidated status. It can go into insufficient, but it won't go into liquidating until 48 hours. So activeness is the ratio to show if the fund manager kept positive cash balance actively for the past 30 days. So I have 100% here. There's been no kind of bank run or whatever on my fund here. So when I scroll down here, we can see this is the assets in this portfolio or in this fund here. So there's some deposits to Aave lending, USDC. This would be the reserve here. As you can see, it's the same amount. But this isn't indicative of the minimum reserve. We'll kind of see where we can note that later on here. And then there's some ETH in the pool, Aave, some LP tokens on QuickSwap. And then down here, I've also supplied to Aave, which is these tokens here, and then borrowed some DAI. So if I scroll down a bit more, you can see here, so this is the date that the pool was, or the fund was created. And then 2 fees here. So management fee is the fee annualized just for depositing in the pool or in the fund. So if I put $1,000 in here, some portion of that is going to be taken from the fund tokens and then provided to the fund manager. And then the performance fee here is based on the performance or ROI generated by the fund manager. So if, annually they received 100%, 6% of that is going to go to the fund manager for achieving that performance. Okay, and then so this is kind of like the about section where we can see that general information, the rule set here. So these are all the cubes that will be applicable to this fund. I'm not sure if this will change later on, if the fund manager can choose kind of a rule set or a whitelist, but as of right now, the whitelist will be kind of standard for everyone. So you can only use, for example, tokens that are whitelisted on these cubes. Kind of as we release the base integration or the MVP, it's going to be kind of very basic to ensure that there's no bugs, there's no way to take advantage of things, and then we'll continue to add automation and different functionalities, maybe options and derivatives and things like that. So the investors tab here will show kind of anyone who's invested and their share amount and their percentage. And then just the kind of the deposits here that have, we'll see here, just deposits or withdrawals possibly, but it looks like just deposits into this pool or this fund. So then if we go, so that's kind of the overview. And then if we go to strategy here, we can see a history of the strategies that have taken place, likely to be kind of indicative of what's shown in the portfolio here. But this gives you a breakdown of maybe the buys and sells. So if you click one of those, that goes to the decombo page. And we can kind of see what took place in this transaction here. So swap for link and ath, and then pooled that liquidity on QuickSwap. So if we go back to the overview, that's shown in this one here. And then under setting, so we have kind of an information and description. So information is any contact information to kind of help identify yourself. So your email, maybe you have a fund manager website or a Telegram or Twitter that you want to put on here so people can identify you, check your validity as a manager, see if they want to provide some funds to you. And then description, you can provide more information about the fund and then more information about yourself. So more information about the fund, maybe you're doing only like a stablecoin strategy, depositing in Aave and earning interest off stablecoins. You want to put in here, low risk, only stablecoins, something like that. And then just a general information about yourself to get people comfortable with your fund and with you as a manager. Okay, and let's go back to the invest page here. Just see if there's any. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or post in the voice chat there. And we'll get to those as well. Okay, so let's just briefly check on some other funds here. So again, we can go into the details. And then each fund will have their own, set of rules here. So Alice's fund here has that 20% management fee and a 20% performance fee. So the fund manager can decide how they want to set up these two fees. And then the manager can collect these fees, which we'll show a little bit later here. So, Alice here has a different subset of tokens in her portfolio and different, borrowing on Aave there. So again, we can see the reserve ratio here. Fund manager can also set the reserve ratio, probably around 10 or 15% is ideal, depending on kind of how many people are going to be coming in and out. If it's a stable coin or something that's not highly risky, you can probably get away with a lower reserve ratio. Or I guess it would depend on how actively you're managing it to make sure you're not having insufficient funds here. So again, we can, if we were in this pool, we could deposit or withdraw from here. Let's put in our value and then approve. So I'll just add some funds to this fund to the fund. And then once that's confirming, if we go to, so if we go to, for instance, my fund, and I go to deposit, we can see that I would receive over 1,000 of these fund tokens. And then with Alice's, we received less because her management fee is higher. So that will take away from your tokens here, depending on that fee. So something to always look into before you put your funds there. What's the fees that are going to be provided to the fund manager? So, they may provide a very high ROI, but their fund manager fees may be higher. So you need to kind of do that calculation and see if it's worth it to maybe take a lower ROI if the fees aren't as substantial, depending on what kind of capital you put in there. So now that I've deposited into Alice's fund, you can see here under your balance there that we have Blazer's fund, my fund, and then we're also in Alice's fund for the $1,000 there. So let's go back into my fund here. So Sinsao has a question. As an investor, are there any handbrakes, safety checks in place to ensure the fund manager doesn't go guns a-blazing and lose all the fund? Yeah, that's a good point. So right now, you can only do kind of what's whitelisted. So if I go to strategy here and I go to new, you know, you can't, for instance, just buy a random token and kind of swap and kind of lose all the money there. You could potentially get liquidated on Aave. I guess that would be the highest risk. Or putting all your funds into kind of the most risky asset here. That's a good question. That's kind of why we're starting with the most prominent managers that we have, and then you know it's kind of up to the person to kind of diversify and choose the right managers. But you know that there's always going to be that kind of inherent risk when you provide your funds to someone else to manage. But again, there wouldn't be any benefit for the manager to do that, as they're not going to get performance fees or management fees if they simply lose all the money, and then they're going to lose their reputation from ever being able to manage another fund again. So it's definitely in their best interest to ensure that you know the cash flow stays positive. Oops. Okay, so as a manager, I would have access to the oops, right here. So click this and then strategy, and then under this under strategy here would be new, and then I could you know create my strategies from here. So and then okay, so if I transfer, so say I want to pick up some Solana for my farm or my pool here, my fund, and I set that. It's going to go through this cash reserve check. So I had thought I had a 30% ratio, but it looks like my ratio on my farm or on my fund here is 5%. So as long as I have that 5%, this transaction is going to be fine. So it's always going to check this cash reserve, and before you kind of send all your funds out to diversify or do some actions on your fund, it's going to check your cash reserves here. So after this, I'm still going to have 2,247 USDC, and then I would require that minimum of 493 or around 5%. So this is to check if the cash balance will remain above the cash reserve requirement. After the strategy gets executed, the transaction will only succeed if the cash balance is greater than the reserve requirement, which is shown as the minimum reserve. So, and then this is the initial funds to execute, and then the initial fee here, so the 2% fee as set by the management fee. So if I send this transaction here just to get more diversification into my fund, this is going to execute. And then if we go to overview, we can see that the Solana has been added here, and now there's a more diverse portfolio. So another question here from Sinsao is, how do you vet potential fund managers? So that's something that we're still in the process of doing. Once the system is closer to being live, we're going to sit down with all the fund managers we have in the fund manager channel here, and do some kind of interview process, determine people's experience using Furucombo, people's experience as fund managers, and their reputation in the space. So there's going to be kind of a few parameters that we're going to have to decide, and then maybe we'll start with 5, potentially 10 managers, and then kind of build it up from there. And again, kind of start small, and then ask people to maybe diversify into different funds. Don't put all their funds with one manager right away until we can kind of build up the system and then build up the reputation. So that's again why we're starting pretty with just whitelisted managers, and then just whitelisted strategies to keep it very simple early on. And then once we build some stability, then we can kind of go from there. Okay, so again, so let me just review everything here quickly. So under the invest page, we can see all the different funds, performance. If I click a fund, I can go to the detail here. And then this is where I can see more detailed information on the difference in share price over time, assets under management, reserve. Could be cool maybe to see the reserve ratio shown here as well. The status, so operating, how long it's been active, the activeness or the percentage of time that the fund has been in operating mode or in a positive cash balance, numbers of investors, the different assets in the portfolio, and then the information here. So again, management fee, performance fee, which are important to understand, the cubes that are under whitelist, the different investors with their share amounts, and then the deposits. And then for myself as a manager, I can go under the strategy tab, and then that's where I can create the strategies there. And then the last tab here is the information tab. So this is where you want to provide your information. And then, okay, so this is the part that I didn't talk about, was the fees here. So as a fund manager here on the setting page, you can scroll down as well. And then I can also claim my fees from this tab. So performance fees for getting the positive ROI generated, and then management fees from any deposits to the pool. So because I made some deposits, I'm able to claim this value of the share tokens, which is $1 per share token approximately. So about 625 from that. So that's going to be based on some time scale, which I'm not sure later on fund managers will be able to set. But that's going to be like the crystallization period, or the period that you're able to accrue these fees and then claim them. So, and that is kind of the basis of our fund manager system right now. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask here or post out. Yeah, which networks are to be supported? So Polygon first, Ethereum second, and then so no support for NFTs at the moment. There is some potential for NFT integration with Paraswap's swapper, so that's something that could be potentially added in the future. And again, if you are interested in becoming a fund manager, obviously, if you're not already in the fund manager channel, join that. We will be kind of conducting interviews and delving a little bit deeper into trying to find the first set of whitelisted managers. So if you're super interested, feel free to kind of make that known so we can kind of put you at the front of the line and work at getting you set up on that. Wondering if there's any plans to use Combo to pay fees or a way to burn Combo with this new platform. Yeah, so answer is we will be observing how the system goes and adjust our tokenomics later on. So yeah, in regards to that, we will be having kind of an update on the tokenomics that's going to be coming out very soon as well. So, for information on that, definitely attend the community call as we usually talk about that stuff there. So, do we have any other questions on the fund manager system? Or any comments, concerns? Awesome. It looks like nothing so far. Super excited to again get this out and get everyone testing this out. Excited to see what our fund managers can do, and excited to also create my own and see how I can do as well. So lots of exciting opportunity gonna be here in the next month and a half here once we're able to launch this, once the audit's complete. And maybe we can do some competitions as well. Top fund managers or compete or have a fund manager leaderboard and have some fun with it. So one question from the lobby. What are the requirements for fund managers to be whitelisted? So yeah, so we're going to have kind of a vetting process on that. So if you are interested, definitely, I can see you're already a fund manager, so definitely become a fund manager. Let us know you're interested. Once we conduct the interviews, we'll kind of determine the validity of, getting you to become one of the first whitelisted managers. Your previous experience, your experience using Furucombo, your understanding of the market, your understanding of risk, that sort of thing. And then we can kind of go from there. So eventually, everyone could kind of spin up their own fund, but yeah, so we're starting kind of with lower risk. We're going to kind of keep it a little bit more simple so people don't go in, put a bunch of money in, and then lose it all and then get mad at us. So that's something kind of we want to worry about initially before we kind of allow anyone to create their own fund. So Shunting is going to have 500% APY. I don't know. I'll probably have higher than him. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's compete.
There you go.
I'll move my funds to your fund.
Yeah. Your fund, your managed fund will just be funds in my fund. Smart.
Yeah, just manage my fund. That's a strategy.
That's an interesting strategy, actually.
L of a Dell, fund of a fund.
Fund of fund, yeah. Fund of funds, there you go. It's not a bad idea, actually. I don't know if you can do that, no. But, I mean, you could just copy the funds in that fund. It might be a little bit more work, but that'd be the way to do it. Let's see. When are we planning to expand to Terra? Well, we're looking into adding additional chains. Probably in Q3, we're going to look more into that. Obviously, our main intention is to get the fund manager system out and then start adding the functionality, start expanding to chains, maybe figuring out if we can do cross-chain transactions, cross-chain fund management, that kind of stuff. So start with Polygon, expand to Ethereum, and then see if we can expand to different networks and chains, and then get that cross-chain compatibility going and bridging. So you can have a fund potentially that has assets on multiple or different chains, at once. There might be one more question coming in here. So Shunting asks, what is fun on Terra? So Terra is interesting because you can get the high APYs on the stable coins, and then there's kind of multiple bonding strategies that you can do. But Anchor Protocol is probably the most typical, so 19.46% on the USDT token or UST token. So right off the gate, or right out of the gate, you're getting pretty good returns with just a basic strategy. But yeah, it gets pretty in depth with the different bonding strategies. Can we do testing on testnet with Furucombo? Right now, it's private for the most part. Probably won't have a public beta available. We'll probably go straight into the launch. So once that releases, you can do all the kind of testing that you want there, and then if there is an issue, definitely let us know and we'll get that fixed right away. Yeah, Mirror's cool too on Terra. Mirror is also available on Ethereum, so we could definitely get that integrated in with Ethereum, but obviously more interesting on Terra when you don't have to pay the, $30, $40, $50 fees on each transaction. So for those that don't know, Mirror kind of gives you the perpetuals, so stocks, assets that are mirrored to their real world counterpart. So a fund manager may be able to buy the mirrored asset for Amazon or Google and then provide some diversity to their fund. You can also long and short them as well and provide get some additional return on yield off that as well and some leverage. Cool. I'm glad to see there's so much interest in this. And again, if you're interested in becoming a fund manager, join the fund manager channel, reach out to us, and we'll work on getting the interviews done to get you whitelisted. How often are these calls? We try to do the workshop. We just started this actually, so we've going for about 2 workshops a month. So the first one was about 2 weeks ago on Furucombo 101, so that just gives you an idea of the create mode. And then this one was obviously on the fund manager system. And then next we'll probably do a 102 on Furucombo, probably around flash loan arbitrages and maybe some more complex strategies. So yeah, that one's going to potentially happen 2 weeks from now. We'll try to get 2 out every month. And then besides this, we have the community call, and then we're starting a new segment soon as well. We're going to have 4 or 5 guests, and it's going to be called Furucombo Radio. So a little alpha on that as well. So check announcements for updates on that. No, we didn't have the ARBs or Flash Loan call yet, so that's going to be Furucombo 102. That's going to be in a couple weeks from now. Yeah, glad you like it, and hope to see everyone at the next one here. So yeah, every 2 weeks, and then it's going to be recorded as well. So obviously, yeah, we posted the 101 workshop here. This fund manager workshop, we're going to kind of keep it closed, close to the closed knit community until we release the system. So we'll probably post it up in the fund manager discussion channel, just so fund managers are able to see and maybe review the system before the release. Awesome, glad you love it, Sinsao. And Will Zoe, will Zoe ever host a call? Yeah, yeah, we should get her on here for sure. She's a good speaker. Maybe we'll get some alpha from Zoe. Great.
He's our meme master.
Yeah, well, I know you guys are sick of my voice already, so we have to get Zoe on here. Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. And then, yeah, so I mean, upon the release, and again, it's going to be MVP release, whitelisted tokens, whitelisted managers, and we're really going to work hard to expand the system, make it really robust and fun to use. I mean, the create mode is already awesome and exciting to use. So adding that with the fund manager system, it's going to be really awesome for the managers and easier for the new people to kind of get their feet wet and jump into DeFi a little bit. If they don't kind of understand the strategies, understand where these yields are coming from, understand leverage, understand risk, they can just put in with these managers, put in with a few different managers, and really get a little bit of diversification in their portfolio. Another interesting thing that came up when we were at Denver was kind of the idea of using this fund manager system to create kind of closed funds, hedge funds, institutions coming in and creating their own funds, a way for them to manage it in an interface, because maybe adding tokens into DeFi doesn't necessarily fit into their regulation, whereas a system where they can manage the fund tokens and the assets within that kind of does, right? So there's lots of potential use cases here. So yeah, lots of awesome things coming up, and we'll continue to expand functionality, release the updated tokenomics. We're going to also be updating the loyalty program as well. So we're going to definitely find a way to fit that into the fund manager system. So lots of things going on here in the next Q2, Q3 here. Token set integration, that's another good question. So yeah, I mean we're gonna ensure that we have all the ways of providing as much functionality as possible. So if one of our platforms has index tokens or long short tokens, we're going to be exploring that option of adding that kind of functionality. But again, we want to start kind of basic and ensure that our managers understand the system, our users understand it, and then we can kind of build in some exactly aggressive and ambitious strategies. Oh, yes. So we are also going to have a OAT for this the fund manager call here. So kind of like a proof of attendance badge or whatever you want to call it. Um, so make sure to check your DM from Zoe, and then we'll ensure that your address is added to the list, and then you'll be able to claim your proof of attendance badge. So OAT is just Galaxy's proof of attendance style badge for that. So oatmeal cookies. Yeah, I mean next call here, community call or workshop. Maybe Zoe can attend as well, or other members from the team. I think she's pretty active on the Mandarin call or Chinese community call. How can the community help build Furucombo? So right now we have the governance form, and that's where we're looking at um, expanding the governance side of things, adding combo token as governance, getting people to have access to the treasury. So right now we're going to, I believe it's 4 out of 12. So we're going to have 4 members of the community that have access to the keys to manage the treasury. So if you are interested in getting that involved in things, you could apply to be one of the key holders and then be one of the managers of the treasury. So the first proposal on the forum right now is just around switching over control of the funds in the treasury right now to the key holders. And then, well, I guess the first one is around starting the active or the management of the DAO funds, and then we're going to release another proposal on the addition of the keys to manage those funds. So if you are interested in that, definitely make a post on the governance forum there, and then kind of introduce yourself. So that's one way to get involved. Obviously, becoming a fund manager is another way to get involved. And then we also have kind of active events going on under the event tab. You know, there's a video tutorial campaign, questionnaire campaign, which is pretty much done now, and then quest campaign, trading strategy contest. That's another one. So you can kind of take a look at the events there, and then just kind of being a member here in the chat, you know, asking questions, helping out with questions, you know, just being an active member of the community. I think that's the biggest and best thing that you can do for Furucombo right now. Link of the form. Okay, Zoe's got you. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to call it then. Appreciate everyone coming out here and being a part of this fund manager workshop. So again, we're going to have another workshop in about 2 weeks. Probably going to look at a Furucombo 102, which is going to be around flash loan arbitrages and maybe some other unique strategies, some strategies on Ethereum potentially, and then some other functionality like limit orders and MEV protection if that's integrated again yet. So definitely see you all at the next one, and hope you are as excited for the Fund Manager launch as we all are. So I think it's going to be really awesome. And again, join the Fund Manager channel if you haven't already. Let us know that you're interested in becoming a whitelisted manager. And then if there are some integrations that you'd like to see, you know, Mirror Protocol, for example, post that there. Let your voice be heard. You know, we wanna hear from everyone in the community, everyone that wants to manage funds and ensure they have the tools they need to be successful. So Shunting has also said so yeah. So
Yeah, it's basically the same as you mentioned. I just want to write it down so others, when they are reading our chats, they can see what we are talking about.
sounds good. Perfect. Well, thanks again, everyone, for coming. See you in a few weeks at the next one.